Well, good morning again. Welcome to the BoatLife Live Stage 2022. And I'm here with Jono, of course. I'm here with Jono Summer from Lifejacket. Jono, tell us what this is about. I know we've had a few guests coming over looking for life jackets.
Yeah,
Talk us through it.
I feel maybe deliberate or otherwise, but we've perhaps caught a different type of audience for a different reason. But no, I'm, along with my brother and my best mate from school, I'm one of the co-founders of Lifejacket, and we are a skin protection brand, purely focused really on helping everyone take better care of their skin and look after it, which is obviously for this community, boating, yachting, anyone that's outdoors and active, anything along those lines is a real must.
So next slide.
There we go.
What a great bunch of people.
I thought if that doesn't bring in interest, people, nothing will. But no, so that's it. There's me in the middle, my brother who's sat front row here as well, and Billy. We're all friends together at school. All went off, had our own separate careers and did bits and pieces. And I think really the start point for Lifejacket, and the reason we undertook it, was in our early 30s, four of our close friends were all diagnosed with differing forms of cancer. None of them skin cancer as it happens, but differing forms of cancer, myself included at 34. And just at that moment, it really it shattered that myth that, speaking as a guy, you're indestructible, it won't happen to you, we're impervious to it all, we'll worry about tomorrow. So that was a sort of, alarm bells go off in general sense in terms of your own health. But then the big start of Lifejacket was Billy, the guy there on the end, stumbled across the statistic that men are twice as likely as women to die from skin cancer. And there is no biological reason for this difference at all. It's purely due to habit and behavior. So that was really the start. That was the sort of the initial drive that flagged it to us. And really, as it says here, we are very much a mission-led brand. And I'll come along with how we're planning to achieve that and achieve our mission in due course. But our mission, very simply, is to stop the increase in skin cancer. So skin cancer rates have doubled in the last 20 years, and they are forecast to double again in the next 20. So this isn't something that's going away. This isn't something that's going to change unless we all change our habits and behavior, and hopefully we can play our small part in that, in helping people look after their skin, short, medium, and long term.
Well, you all have been through something together. Which brings you together as a team. How important is that to have had that experience in order to drive this message and the company forward? Yeah,
I mean, obviously, it's slightly difficult circumstances. Not that that's what you'd want the start point to be for anyone, but I think our friendship helped, which is always a good thing. Everyone deals with this kind of thing. If anyone has themselves personally or knows of anyone that has had a cancer diagnosis, there's no right or wrong way of dealing with it or tackling it. We all have to do it in our best way that works for us. It's a big shock and it's a big bolt from the blue. So again, if anyone ever asks, my point is, do what's good for you. There's no textbook when it comes to sort of dealing with it. But very happy to report that all of myself included, but all of the four guys as well, everyone full recovery, which was fantastic. But obviously, we're still keen to be out there doing what we can on the skin cancer front and all things active health and well-being.
So there you were. You just got through your own personal traumas.
Sat in a park.
What happened next? What's the process?
Yeah, very good question. So the start point really, the idea was initially Billy's. So we were all doing our own bits and pieces and separate forms of work. And it was an idea that came to Bill whilst he was still working on something else as well. And I think the more and more work he did, the more and more research of it, he became increasingly convinced it's something he really wanted to commit to. I think we're all also at the point whereby we'd done bits and pieces, for our working lives. And I guess we had finally found something that combined everything we enjoy, running a business, which is great fun and challenging at times, but also doing something that we care about and that actually speaks to us as an audience as much as anything else. We've all been involved in products and other bits and pieces that perhaps weren't our first love. So this was a really good chance to do that. So that was as the idea. I think the very useful part as a background is mine and my brother's background was in chemical distribution, not narcotics. I'm not saying anything along those lines, but we were in the personal care space. So what we had is we had a background or a knowledge in all the suppliers, in how that process works. And my brother is a very, very capable and able formulation chemist or technician. So the way I often talk about it is when you're talking about personal care products, sun protection is almost like the Michelin-starred end of it. It's really complex, it's really tricky, it's a real balancing act, it's a fine cooking heart, and so that was the nature of it. So Bill, who's got great with strategy, marketing, fantastic eye for it. He's responsible for all our branding. I'm not allowed within 100 yards of any of it. I have absolutely no sense of style or taste. But what Rob was fantastic is brought that technical knowledge and how to formulate the products. And I think one of the key things we realised along our journey was that it's tough. It's tough to get products that we're proud of and that we like. And there are a few instances whereby you can compromise and go, okay, that'll do. But we didn't. We stuck with it. So it took us between 18 months and 24 months to end up with the products we're actually happy to bring out there to do what we wanted to do. So that was it. And we just we started that. So we started with the formulation, we started with the branding, we started with the marketing. We launched fantastically well in February 2020, which was an interesting time. But we're looking forward to this year as a chance to hopefully sort of, without the backdrop of COVID, for us to be able to get on and do what we want to do. So that was the start for it and the learning curve. Shall I press the old on button? This is where an awkward picture of my kid has got in there or something silly. What's really important to us is our mission is to halt the increase in skin cancer. And in our mind and the approaches, there are going to be three ways of which we do this. Obviously, we have a range of products, which is one part of it, and I'll come across that later. But there are two huge factors to us that are really going to make a difference, because what we're talking about here is a habit change and a cultural change in how we perceive the sun, how we perceive our skincare, and how we approach that. So the first part of it is we invest a huge amount of time, effort, and energy and resource into raising awareness. So that is simply letting people know about the potential risks of skin damage, what they can do about it. We are really proud and really lucky to be official partners with Melanoma UK, who are the largest, or I guess the preeminent or the largest charity in the UK focusing purely on melanoma. So we did loads with those guys. They are absolutely amazing. They've got a fantastic support network of people helping everyone dealing with them personally or friends and family. So we have all of that going on as well. But we do loads of stuff with them, loads of projects, loads of events. 50 pence from every order that we receive goes to them as a direct contribution as well, which is nice and helps fund some of the work that they're doing. May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month, so we've got a big project around them then. So raising awareness is a massive part of it. It's getting people to realise it's something that they need to do. The next part of it is, and I guess including myself and education in the same sentence is risky, as anyone will tell you, but a massive part of it is helping, as well as raising awareness, it's helping people better understand the science and the facts when it comes to their skin and what it means, and what does UV mean, and what does SPF mean, and how is your skin affected, and what matters, what are the risks, and what's involved. So we do a lot of stuff as well. We work with a whole range of organisations and bodies, giving talks, hosting Q&A sessions, writing bespoke articles. It's not a product sales pitch, any of that. All of it is, it's the facts. It's helping people understand what they need to be doing to look after their skin, because there are quite a few variables. And the key thing there is informed decisions. If people are in possession of the facts, they can go and do what they want. If they don't want to apply stuff, that's their call. A bad call, I would say, but that's their call. But at least they know what they're doing, and we can shatter some of the myths and misconceptions. Because before I got involved with this, there's lots I didn't know about it. What does SPF stand for? What does it mean? What's the significance of the number? But they're all quite useful things to know to help us look after ourselves.
In the UK, as a nation, how are we against other nations? I know if you go to Australia, people are a lot more educated. They teach it at school. How are we doing in the UK for our knowledge?
Each climate has their own sort of inbuilt reasons why they might actually suffer. So Australia culturally is very good. They have Slip, Slop, Slap as a campaign, which they do, which is fantastic. So as you said, all kids grow up and just know that that's what they do. They put it on, and there's no doubt. The flip side to that is they are the UV capital of the world. So you need that extra level of protection due to the amount of exposure you get. I think in the UK, I guess I'd say we're average to maybe below average. It's a slightly tricky metric. I think what works against us is because we are not a extremely sunny environment, bar maybe a couple of months during the middle of the year. It's not something that culturally is on our radar, or it's something we think, oh well, hey, it's a bit of exposure in summer, it's not going to affect me. I think what does help, and part of it helps with from the male perspective, and part of it helps in general, is that grooming is becoming more of a thing. So in general terms, men are more willing or more prepared to be applying things to their skin, which is a huge hurdle. And then I think the second thing, this whole nature, the whole movement towards welfare, well-being, being seen to look after yourself is encouraged, whereas historically it's actually probably even discouraged. The notion of looking after your skin 30, 40 years ago, you'd probably got laughed out of town, especially as a guy. So I think all those things help. So there's a right cultural. On a slightly different scale, you're talking, it's a bit like smoking. It's that cultural shift. It will happen in years to come. It's just how quickly can we make that the case for everyone.
Now, The difference between a golfer and a sailor. If I go out and have a game of golf, I've probably got a hat on, green grass, whack a ball around. I go out for a sail, I'm looking up at white sails, I've got the mirror version coming up that the sun is mirroring off the sea, probably got white decks. How at risk are boaters compared to general public?
Probably, one of the most at-risk groups. I would certainly say that's true. So as you alluded to, anyone that's outdoors, our skin is contacted or hit by UV every single day, no matter what we do, commute to work, knocking around, all of that stuff. There are at-risk groups, and those are people that like to be active and outdoors. Anyone that is on water, so you could include boats in that, you could include windsurfers, you can include anything in that category, they are, as you alluded to, increasingly at risk because UV reflects. But UV reflects off sand as well, it reflects off concrete, it reflects off water. So there is this massive, massive risk element for everyone that's out and about in the water for exactly the reasons that you identified there. So it's a key group. It's a key group, as is we are all a key group, but they are certainly a more elevated risk group when you think about it in that sense.
Now, I understand that you're not a doctor, but what are the sort of things, the telltale signs that people should just look out for?
Yeah, so another thing, and a sort of a useful but you want to be keeping an eye on any changes to the nature of your skin. And again, this is another reason why. So in the UK last year, men were 1.7 times more likely than women to be diagnosed, but 2.1 times more likely to die. Now, a reason for that increase from 1.7 to 2.1 is the manner in which we look after ourselves and the manner in which, when we notice something's wrong, how quickly we deal with it. Especially when we're dealing with cancer, early detection is always beneficial and helpful. But that's a big risk. A good friend of ours had it. He cycled to work all the time. He got something on the back of his neck. He thought it was a cut or a scab, and he left it. And it took him, I think, 12 to 13 months to actually get it looked at. And all that time thinking it'll go away, or life got in the way of going and getting it looked at, stubbornness, as some people can be prone to. So that is a big factor. That's a big consideration. So do keep an eye on your skin. As soon as you notice anything changing in your skin in terms of any skin tags or moles or marks, that's when you need to get something looked at. There is something that's heavily advocated called ABCD, which stands for asymmetry. So if the mark is asymmetrical, it's worth considering. If what do the borders of it look like in terms of the border of that mole? You've then got colour, and then the D, which I always diameter. If it's changing in diameter, that's another consideration. So there are these sort of tick lists, if you want to call them, and that's where melanoma are great. They do a lot of time trying to encourage people to look after it. One of the things that we've actually done is we've also partnered with a firm called Skin Vision, and they do an artificial intelligence and AI app which enables you to scan your skin for any changes and anything, and it will then make a recommendation based on the nature of the picture and image that you've sent it. So we give a 7-day trial with any order you get through Lifejacket with us. We give away a 7-day trial with Skin Vision, giving people a chance to use the app and try it out. But again, it's that detection, and so combined with kind of protection and detection, that's the kind of the double act. But that's a really, really important part, and then doing something about it if you get that flag.
Yeah, that's real added value from your product. Tell us a little bit about the products that you do, the range or the...
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So let's just see here. Sorry, just jumping around a bit. The understanding the skin was, and what I'll do is, if anyone ever has any questions about understanding the label, what it is, how it means, how the sun impacts our skin, we can. I'm always happy to talk about that. We've got loads of journals and stuff. But then, what sets our range apart? So I'll just remind myself what the next slide is. Oh, there we go. I've jumped ahead a bit. So what sets our range apart? So the nature of the range you've got there, we've got sun gels and moisturizers as well. What we also do that doesn't feature in there is we do a mineral stick, but we also do clothing, we do rash vests, we do hats. The focus of all of that is this element of UV protection and skin protection. That's really, really a big part. So, as the range as we look at it there, a huge part of our message is there's a great tendency for all of us to think about it purely when we're out on the water, purely when it's sunny, purely when we're on holiday by the pool. The reality is UV hits your skin every single day, and sometimes it might be more pronounced than others, but you are still being hit. A little sort of, I say, interesting fact, some people might find it boring, but UV is the elephant in the room. That's what it is that affects us. And UVB rays are the rays that cause us to burn. Now, they're more prevalent when the sun's highest in the sky, which means it's during summer and during the middle of the day. So we all know that feeling, when the sun's high and out there, we know that it's happening. I guess if you can call it, the good thing about that is when your body is under attack from UVB rays, it tells you very quickly, because it starts to go red and you start to burn. It's a very quick indicator from your body that something's not right. The catch is that only accounts for 5% of the rays that reaches. The other 95% of the rays that reaches are UVA rays, and they are equally present throughout the year. So there's none of this seasonality with it in terms of is it June, July. It's as present in January as it is in March, as it is in November. It's absolutely the same all year round. And the great downside of UVA is when it penetrates your skin, it goes a bit deeper. It hits the dermis, which is a low level of the skin there. But the damage it does is almost invisible because it accumulates over time. So it's UVA damage that causes our skin to wrinkle, crow's feet. It causes our skin to sag. So 75% of aging is caused by UV. So if ever you see the best thing, whatever your motivation is, wrinkles is just a form of skin damage. And the single best thing you can do to protect yourself, whether or not you care about how you look and aging and skin, which is absolutely understandable, all the way through to skin cancer, the best thing you can do is to protect yourself from UV every single day. That is the single best piece of advice we can give. So when you see a lot of products advertised as anti-aging, a lot of the time, what it actually means is it contains UV protection. And that's a big thing. So another reason, another contributor to the difference between men and women is that if you take makeup as an example, makeup contains products that offer UV protection. But what's interesting is it's advertised as anti-aging, but it's doing the same thing as almost being anti-skin cancer. Right? It's the same kind of pitch and nature. So that's the nature of what we do. So the blue product there, sort of middle right, that we've got is our Daily Protection Moisturizer. That is a product that contains SPF 30, UVA 5-star or UVA Circle, which is great for, our suggestion with this is put it on first thing in the morning and you're good to go throughout the day, and you've got that sort of general daily protection that you need. The sun gels, which are the ones in orange and pink, I guess, are there for periods of more sustained exposure to them. But so we took a lot of time to get these right. I think the key thing is we spoke to a huge number of people, men and women, and we understand what people's grievances were with products, what they did or didn't like, what were phobias. Because again, quoting stats out here left, right, and centre, but we surveyed 3,000 men, and of those, 72% would sooner not use anything at all than use something that was unsuitably fragranced, branded for women, or greasy. Now, none of those are good reasons not to protect your skin. There's no such thing as a good reason, but the reality is it was putting people off. So all of these products have been designed with those grievances in mind. So they're non-greasy, they're non-sticky, they go on the skin really nicely. They're suitable for all skin types, all skin sensitivities, and body hair types as well. Guys, hair on our bodies, throughout that, and that's something that gets some people's nerves. This deals with that as well. So it was all, the best sun protection or UV protection you can use is a product you like. Forget us, forget anyone else. It's something you like, because if you like it, you're going to use it again. If you don't like it, it falls to the bottom of the list of priorities and concerns. So we spent a huge amount, I say we, Rob, give him his credit, spent a huge amount of time formulating these products and trying to get them right, but at the same time, at no point compromising on their performance and the level of protection they offered, which is that balancing act, which is a huge challenge when you're in those. So we do that, and then again, we do all our clothing as well. So a typical cotton T-shirt is just SPF 5. So you'll still get smashed with UV through it.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I've come across UV clothing in Australia when I've sailed there, and I think it's wonderful now that you're offering it over here. Just tell me, you would have thought putting a T-shirt on, you're going to get some protection, and again, you may not burn through a T-shirt, but you're saying the rays get through.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way to think about clothing is very much like a sieve at home. The tighter that sieve, the less gets through. That's a very simple way. So some fabrics have a naturally tighter weave than others. So if you take something like polyester, a really, really tight, denim's the best one. Denim has an SPF, crudely, an SPF value of 1700. Right, it's huge because it's a massively tight weave. Now, do you want to wear jeans out on the water or at the beach? Possibly not. So that's a slight trade-off. Whereas if you take fabrics like cotton or even linen at another extreme, they're far looser. The weave, the nature of those fabrics is such that more can get through. You're talking about rays that the UVB and UVA rays are between 280 and 400 nanometers. So they're tiny. They're obviously not detectable by the human eye. So all that is about a nature of a weave. Is how tight is that weave. So the challenge becomes, well, how do you have a light fabric that people will want to wear out and about and outdoors, especially when they're in the sun, but one that at the same time offers that level of protection compared to cotton, which is, as I said, that SPF 5. So the products that we have on I guess we've got two items, one of which I say modelling today. It's probably not doing modelling enough service, but we use cellulose. So it's it's a plant extract, and what it does is it enables us to achieve that level of protection, but without making it a heavy garment. So what you can sometimes get with clothing is you can chemically treat clothing. So you could take any garment, you could chemically treat it so that it offered UV protection. The catch of that is over time, the efficacy of that will diminish because you'll wash it multiple times, be it at sea or washing it at the end of the day. So what might start off as a UPF 50, 30, whatever your number is, over time will go. So what you really want is you want fabrics or fibers that offer that level of protection naturally because you know that it's good for the life duration of that product. So so we do that, and then we do a rash vest which combines a few different materials on there. But yeah, clothing's a big thing for us because personally I would sooner wear something as an item of clothing than I would apply something. Personally, that's just my personal preference. So we want to offer all of these things, and hats are another thing as well. Our hats are UPF 50 plus, and again, sorry if it's a bit boring to anyone else, it fascinates me, but to be able to call anything you put on your head UPF, or for it to qualify, it needs to be a wide brimmed. It needs to have a certain centimetre, be of a certain centimetre diameter, because it needs to be protecting your ears and the back of your neck. So you couldn't call a cap a UPF product for the simple reason it doesn't protect your ears or the back of your neck. And there are also rules that govern how large any vent can be in the top of it to let it breathe, because too wide, UV gets in and you lose the ability to make that claim, if you will. So so that's the clothing is a massive part. We've got some other products coming out, but it's all it is all about products that people enjoy that at the same time just don't compromise on any level of protection that we offer.
I can see you've got all bases covered. Now, something I am personally confused about is that number, 50 plus, 30.
Sure.
8, I see. I wonder why people have put 8 on. What are the numbers and how do they equate?
Well, it's again, this is, and hands up, I was as guilty of this as the next person before I got involved with Lifejacket, and you start to read and understand. We've heard all manner of beliefs of what that number means and all this, that, and the other. Or if I put on an 8, I only want a bit of a tan and all this kind of stuff. Something I would like to...
Is it time sensitive? Explain.
There's a time element to it, but I guess one thing I would like to shout from the rooftops is there is no such thing as a healthy tan. That's it. When we tan, it's our body's way of telling us that our skin is under attack. So within our skin, we have melanocytes, and they produce melanin, which we all know about, and that's what gives us all our natural skin color. The moment the body senses that we're under attack from UV, it produces melanin to block and defend that UV from penetrating any deeper in the skin. So the moment your skin starts to tan, is your body saying, I'm under attack, stop it. And there's no upside to it. It's just don't do it, And look, we've all been on holiday, and we want to come back into work the next day, put on the white shirt, and look like a David Dickinson or whatever that guy is. But the reality is, it's just damage, and all it is doing is aging and damaging your skin, and it accumulates over time, and can add up to a whole range of consequences. But back to your question on that SPF side. So when you see that number there, and there it says 30 and 50 plus. By the way, high and very high isn't us just sort of using words. They are official levels as well. So high covers everything up to 50, whereas to be classified as very high, it needs to be 50 plus. 50 plus, by the way, is a European, or with the exception of the US, most territories adopt it. That means it has to be offering SPF protection of 60 or higher. That's the distinction when you see that 50 plus there. But what that number means, and this is where awareness and education comes in, is a massive, massive part. And you realise how personal UV protection is, from you to me to anyone else out there. If I were to expose myself, sounds a bit ropey, but if I were to expose myself to UV at any given moment in time without wearing any form of UV protection, after a given period of time, my skin would start to redden. That's an erythemal reaction. That's what would happen. So if you think about that as your personal burn time, now I'm reasonably fair skinned, so that would happen quicker than someone that is darker skinned. That reaction would happen later on. But let's take me as an example. If I expose myself to a UV level, and again, that UV level can vary